Thank you for joining Utah Beer News for the latest in our one-on-one video conversations with local brewers, breweries, and everyday imbibers. I'm Tim Herron, the founder of Utah Beer News, and my guest for this episode is Jeff Tito, the president of Park City Brewing. Welcome, Jeff.
Morning, Tim. How are you today?
I'm doing great. Yeah, thank you so much for taking the time to talk with Utah Beer News. It sounds like it's a big week for you.
It is. There's a lot going on, but very happy to spend some time with you.
Very good. Yeah, let's start with your announcement on Tuesday. Park City Brewing is entering the Utah market with new ownership, beer, and branding. And you already have 5 beers available at local bars and restaurants in Park City and Salt Lake. Now, Park City Brewery has operated in Utah for several years. Just to clear up any potential confusion right off the bat, what's the distinction between that brewery and this new venture, Park City Brewing?
So the Park City Brewery is our past, and we pay homage to that, to the guys who started it. And as the pandemic hit and things were going bad, our investor group ended up buying the assets from them, from the original owners. And of course, the pandemic made it very hard to operate in. So we were able to begin getting things really organized and ready to go beginning about March of this year. I came on board in March. We spent a lot of time doing some R&D brews in the little space we have where the tap room is being built right now, and sat down and said, okay, now how can we focus on maybe 4 or 5 solid core beers that we'll have available all the time. So I mean, it's completely different. I mean, it's all new recipes, all new branding. The 5 core beers are there. I mean, it's beers that are, again, for locals, by locals. I've moved into the area. I've got a couple of years of experience in the brewing industry, which brings a lot of fun too. We're passionate about what we do. So we have experience, we have the passion. I love this area. I mean, I came from the East, and to be honest with you, I never lived past those East Coast states, and lo and behold, here I am out West, and I'm loving it.
Oh, great. Yeah, let's talk about your background for a minute. It appears you have extensive experience in the beer industry. Could you give viewers and listeners a brief history of who you are and your path to where you are today?
Well, I was raised in a small town in Western Pennsylvania called Latrobe, Pennsylvania. For those that don't know Latrobe, Pennsylvania, that was the home of Rolling Rock Beer. And I was very fortunate that my family owned that when I was growing up. So if you know of Latrobe, you know of a few things. You know that Rolling Rock Beer came from there. You know that Arnold Palmer, the famous golfer, was born there, and you know that Mr. Rogers, was born there and lived there his entire life also. Wow. So those are kind of the 3 things that Latrobe is famous for. But that's where I got my start, Tim. I can remember, my father saying, you're going to start working in the brewery. You're 18 now. Go see your grandfather. And so I went into my grandfather's office, and it was a very distinct conversation. I think all I did was nod my head and say yes, sir, about 15 times. He says, "This is what you will do. This is what you won't do. This is," and I said, "Okay, yes, sir, yes, sir." Right. And then I went, and the first day they gave me a pair of boots. I had a pair of jeans and a sweatshirt on. They said, "Climb in that fermenter and clean it."
Wow.
And these were, 1,100 barrel fermenters, bread loaf style fermenters with epoxy lining. And so, you get in, you push the yeast out, and there's it's like 10, 15 barrels of yeast at the bottom of this thing.
Oh, man.
And then they hand you in a scrub brush, because there was no CIP system back then. This is the 80s. So you start cleaning tanks by hand, and you learn all that. So the best part about this, Tim, is I learned the industry from the ground up, the manual way, like I did. And then I've been fortunate enough to work for a number of other great breweries around the world. I spent some time with Stroh. I spent some time with Pittsburgh Brewing. And Pittsburgh Brewing was more famous it was the origination spot of Sam Adams.
Okay.
So when Sam Adams came about, Joe 80s and Jim Cook went into Pittsburgh and started brewing there. After leaving there, I went to Yingling for a number of years. Yingling was very, very small when I got there. It was about 200,000 barrels.
Right.
And when I left about 5 years later, we were turning over 1 million.
Wow.
And now they're up over 4 million. So they're just on fire, and the girls are doing a great job.
Mm-hmm.
Dick's daughters, a nice job of making things go out there.
Mm-hmm.
After that, I ended up in the Miller organization for a number of years, working my way as a packaging manager and a brewing manager. I'm a brewmaster by trade.
Okay.
So at the end of the day, that's what I am.
Mm-hmm.
And then as Miller, as I decided to leave Miller, I was trying to figure out where to go and what I wanted to do. And I saw an opportunity for Heineken. So, a little over 10 years ago, I jumped in with Heineken. So I went to lived in Holland for 2 years, where they took the red blood out and put the green blood in, got me all Heinekenized. And then I was traveling around Europe, traveling around Africa as the fly-in guy to fix problems in various breweries.
Okay.
Well, they liked what I did there, so they sent me to the Congo.
Huh.
Here I am in Kinshasa in the Congo, running a 3 million barrel brewery down there, which was a lot of fun. It was a lot of work, a lot of things you had to get to, a lot of things we had to make sure that folks were doing. And at the time, Heineken was also investing about €250,000 into the site and into everything to really, make up for a lot of things from the past that needed to be resolved. And we did that. And that was a lot of fun for those 4 years. And then after that, I went to St. Lucia and ran a soft drink plant and a brewery in St. Lucia, because we had 2 facilities there. And so I was the supply chain director there. And then when the end of last year came by, my time was up there after I'd spent 4 years there. And then it was, well, what am I going to do now? And then there's like, well, we're going to take you back to Holland. And I didn't think going back to Holland was what I wanted to do, in the middle of the pandemic. So I said, you know what, let's just, I'll go my way and you go your way, and I'll come back home to the US and look for something to do. And here I am in Park City, Utah, which is, I'm having a great time here. This is a lot of fun.
Wow. And so did you have a connection to Park City prior to all of that world travel?
Did not.
Okay.
It's just one of those things that when I came back, I had some folks, looking for me that I knew, that I've known in the industry a long time, and said, hey, let me know if you hear of anything. And next thing you know, I got a phone number for some of the guys here in Park City, and I made a phone call and had a couple more phone calls. And I said, yeah, this could really be interesting, to be able to, bring things back and be able to do it right.
Right.
And it's exactly what we're doing here.
So like you mentioned, you've seen started at the ground level and have seen probably the biggest of the big operations in the world. And with 5 beers already available as ready to go, it seems like this has been in the works for a little bit. Can you give us a little bit of a timeline on what's happened over the near term to kind of get you where Park City Brewing is today?
Sure. So I came in the middle of March, and I started looking at everything that we had. We've got some equipment in a warehouse in down in Salt Lake City, and that's there. I said, okay, we have that. That's fantastic. There were thoughts around, should we sell it? Should we keep it? I said, let's just keep it. We'll determine what we're going to do in the future. That's fine. Mm-hmm. And then we started looking at, all right, what do we have? We've got a space that we've rented up in Park City, up in the junction there between right next to Park City Roasters. It was an old bicycle shop. So we used that as we had a half barrel system in there. We used that for some R&D. And Mike Prine and I, who's our brewer, sat down and talked about, all right, what do we want to make? What are the things that we really need to be having? I mean, every brewery, has their core beers. Everybody's got an IPA, of course. Everybody's got some kind of an amber. Everybody's got some kind of a lager or a Helles, or, everybody has all these. So it was like, what are we going to make for us? Mm-hmm. And so we did some discussions, and then I said, okay, you've got materials now. What do you want to do? And so it was a nice compilation between he and I as how we're going to do this. It's just, some discussions, then I let him do what he needed to do. Because, as a brewer, that's exactly what I would want to do.
All right.
It's one of the things you have to do, is you have to make sure that you're not like managing everything, that, you are responsible for everything in my role. Sure. So it's just one of those things where I said, okay. And then, we would go ahead and ferment the beers, age the beers, and then we would either just have it on tap and take it to our investors, or we would put it in some cans and take it to our investors, and then start getting feedback.
Okay.
And the feedback that we've been getting on some of these recipes was, hey, we really like this, we really like this. This one's okay. I mean, come on, Jim, you're not going to hit a home run with every
Right.
beer.
No,
that.
no. Yeah, for
So,
sure.
but so we have some really good recipes that we came out with, and the Pilsner was one. The Powder Buoy Pilsner that we have, really nice Czech style Pilsner. I was fortunate enough to spend some time in Prague when I was there, and you got to drink the Pilsner Urquell, and you got to drink the Budvar, and you got to drink the Krušovice, all outstanding beers.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I mean, and I said that that's really where you want it to be, and that's exactly the way we've got the Powder Buoy Pilsner. We've got it in that just like a Czech Pilsner. Okay.
Okay.
So once we had that recipe, we said, okay, let's keep going, seeing what else we can find. And of course, then we have our IPA, the Sneaker Tree IPA, and that's a real nice, solid IPA. And we also have a variant version of that, which is our Gold Town Pale Ale.
Okay.
So you have the IPA and the Pale Ale, similar like, but differences in the way that the maltiness comes through or the breadiness comes through, and differences in the hop characteristics for sure.
Okay.
So those are the top three.
Uh-huh.
I'm always a fan of a red ale or an amber lager. That's one of my favorites. And we've got a red ale recipe that we'll pull out at some point, but we decided to go with the amber lager first, and that's our Silver Creek Water Amber Lager, which is now out, and we're getting good reception on that. People like the carameliness, they like the roasted malt characteristics and things like that.
Sure.
So that's going well. And the last one, the Siren's Call, is not quite out yet. It'll be out in the coming weeks. It's in the aging tanks right now. So when it gets finished, we'll be ready with that. But just a traditional American lager.
Okay.
So,
and these are all 12-ounce cans, it looks like. Is that...
They're all, we have the beer in 12-ounce cans, and we have it in draft right now.
Okay.
The Pilsner is only available in draft right now,
Uh-huh.
but that brew is coming due next week.
Okay.
And we're going to put it in cans. And we have some draft left, so from the previous run, so I don't think I'm going to need much at all, but we're going to put mostly into cans.
Okay.
And when we get to that point, I'm also working with the guys over at Utah Paper Box to come up with our mix pack.
Okay.
So that we can, now that we're going to have four in cans, now I've got to put, 3 sets of 4 cans, or four sets of 3 cans into a mix pack, and allow people to try them all as it is. So
yeah.
So we're getting there.
Well, that's fantastic. And where are some of the places that people can find these today?
So we have we're in with the Associated grocery stores right now.
Okay.
So there's the Fresh Markets on the east side of town, down by 23rd. Then there's 2 or 3 Macy's down in that area, and a little further down toward Olympus and Midvale there.
Okay.
We're in the 2 Fresh Markets up in Park City. So we're into Maxwell's, we're into the Cabin, down in Salt Lake City, we're into Brick and Mortar, we're into Whiskey Street, we're into Piper Down.
Okay.
So I mean, real nice places that we're in down here. We're not in everywhere, but it's taking time, and things are growing at a grassroots level up, and people are starting to call now. People are starting to ask questions now,
Sure.
which is the exciting part, because the first beers were coming out in late July, so it's taken a couple months to say, oh hey, here's what look at this.
Okay.
And now that people are like, okay, now we see it, now they're tasting it, they're like, yeah, okay.
Now we
people
know.
are getting more and more excited, and this is kind of a slow beer season until the tourists start piling in here in another month or so.
Sure.
But we're ready to go. We've got everything. So for us, the timing is right. Everything's ready to go, and it's time to start. Serving beer everywhere.
Perfect. And you mentioned Mike Perrine. Is that your head brewer?
Yes.
What's his background, and where's he come from?
He came from originally from Texas.
Okay.
So he worked at Real Ale down in Austin. And for a number of years, he was in charge of their barrel age program.
Okay.
So that's something we'll get to at some point in the future. Yeah, one of the things that we do, if you think about Tim, from we're trying to be very innovative,
Mm,
and we're trying to make sure that we do things that are a little bit different. We're getting to that point now where with the tap room being able to come online here in the next, say, 45 days or so.
oh,
So end of the year, early January, something like that, that we're going to begin to start brewing some of our specialties.
mm,
Okay, so we've got some nice ideas here that we're going to start with those. Um, and one of the things we want to get to is we want to say we're not sure what day it's going to be yet, but maybe it's the second Saturday of every month.
mm.
Okay, and what we want people to do is come to the tap room and try the newest one.
Okay.
And maybe that's the second Saturday of February, March, April,
Right.
May, and go forward. And then the best thing about that is, okay, here's the freshest ones. Tell us what you think. Do you like it? Do you not like it? Did we do something right? Did we do something wrong? Tell us,
An instant
so we can
focus
get some
group. That's
feedback.
great.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
So it's an
perfect.
instant focus group, instant research and development opportunity,
Yeah,
and gives us the feedback of our local drinkers, which is great.
right. I think you mentioned the location is Kimball Junction. Is that where the
Yes,
tap
it
room
is.
is going to be located? Okay.
Yes, it is. And as you go in, there's a Smith's grocery store there. We're I guess it's to the west of or east of them.
Uh-huh.
There's Park City Roasters, which is the coffee shop that almost everybody goes to there.
Yeah.
We're right next to Park City Roasters.
Okay. Fantastic. And you're planning on that then the end of this year, beginning of next year? And then
It's all
even
based on when things get delivered. With all
yeah.
these supply chain issues,
Oh,
God
for
only knows
sure.
when it's going to get here. So
Yeah, no, definitely. And then even further down the road, you've got plans for something in Salt Lake as well. Is that right?
yes, we do. Yes,
Okay.
we because we were looking at doing everything simultaneously, having the tap room up in Park City and then having a brewery down here in Salt Lake City.
Hmm.
And then as the quotations came back in June and July and everything else, we're saying, ooh, this is what we had for original quotes versus what we had now. We're like night and day, and
Sure.
it's costing us about twice as much as what it originally was to do the same work. So I mean, that's it is what it is. There's nothing we can do about it. So we said, okay, let's pause the brewery and let's make sure we get the tap room done right. So with the tap room, we're going to put a small brewing system in there. It's only a 1 barrel system, but it's enough that we can make a significant amount of specialty beers or seasonal beers and things like that, and be able to keep things alive up there. In the meantime, then we're going to build the brewery somewhere down in Salt Lake.
Okay.
We'll start looking at that probably after the first of the year and find the right place and get that up somewhere.
Okay. So right now,
We'll have a tap room down there too. Sorry.
sure. Oh, no problem. So right now the operation then is what's the brew house size that you're working on currently?
Well, we're actually contracting with Uinta to make our
Oh,
beer.
okay.
So we've contracted with them so that
Uh-huh.
we could get things out and back and become relevant again,
Gotcha.
which was really the important piece. And
Sure.
they're very good partners for us. We have all the artistic abilities toward us, and then we talk with them and say, okay, here's what we want to do. This is the malts we want to use. This is the hops we want to use.
Hmm.
This is the temperature regime. This is everything. This is how we want it to end up. And they're very good to work for.
Perfect. And then, but up in Park City, then you're planning to have a 1 barrel pilot system where you can kind of test
Yes.
things and do. Perfect.
Yes.
Oh, perfect.
Exactly right.
Cool. And then I know you mentioned one of your goals is to create quality beer for locals by the locals. Can you just
Yes.
expand on that a little bit? What you mean by that?
So what that is I challenged Mike, our brewer, and I said, look, you have an easy job. You just have to make great beer every time. Okay. I said, if you make great beer every time, we never have any issues. We don't have a problem.
Exactly.
Okay.
It's easy. It's easy.
So it's a walk in the park, right? So but that's it. I mean, the idea is we have to make beer that people enjoy. So we got to make great beer every time. We want to make sure that our local customers really enjoy what we make, and we're going to continue making for them all the time.
Sounds great to me. Perfect. Fantastic, Jeff. Well, do you have any closing thoughts in terms of what people should be looking for or should expect from Park City Brewing in the next few weeks or months?
Well, I think everybody should start looking to see where they can find our cans. Our cans are completely rebranded from the way they used to be.
Mhm.
We're highlighting the mountains in Park Cities, general vicinity up there. Every can, though, Tim, also has a story on the back of it. Okay.
Mhm.
Let's use the Sneaker Tree IPA, for instance. If you've ever gone up to Park City and you've walked down Main Street and you know where the Marriott is at the end of the street there, if you walk behind the Marriott, there's the Silver Creek that goes through there. Okay.
Mhm.
When you're walking through there, there's a bunch of trees that have tennis shoes or various shoes thrown up into it. Well, they've been doing that up there since like the 70s. Okay.
Yeah.
So, you walk back there and they call them the shoe tree. Okay. Now, all right. Shoe Tree IPA didn't quite roll off the tongue as well as Sneaker Tree does.
Okay.
So that's why we called it Sneaker Tree. But, again, we're trying to tie what we do to the Park City community. Okay.
Mhm.
And it's exactly what we want to do. We want to be able to share things like that. We have the Sneaker Tree. We have the Gold Town, which is our pale ale. Well, Gold Town is because Park City has been designated a gold bicycle riding area. Okay. So, again, you refer back to that, and that's the story we have on the can.
Mm.
So, I mean, it's one of those things where, you and I could be sitting in a bar and there's a guy, in from wherever in the world skiing, and he's reading this stuff and is this really true? And well, yes, it is. Okay. And so, I mean, it's a great conversation piece while you're sitting at
Sure.
the bar there enjoying your beer also.
Yeah, well, I'm glad you mentioned that because I did read some of those stories on your website, and I thought Siren's Call and Powder Buoy were just phenomenal stories as well. Maybe go ahead and share those while we're talking about this.
The Siren's Call. Basically, if you go back to the early 1900s, late 1800s, there was a big fire in Park City, so they started this, running the siren every night. So the bigger question is nowadays the siren still runs, of course, but there's no mine anymore. There's nothing else going on. So the idea was, well, the siren still runs every night at 10 o'clock, but why did it run in the first place? Was it to call the miners home from the brothels? Was it to make sure that there were no fires? What was it? And that's kind of how we share it on the can.
Right.
So,
yeah. And then the Powder Buoy.
The Powder Buoy, there's a gentleman, Mike Ruzek, who has a powderbuoy.com website, and they have it's all based off of a weather buoy that's north of Kauai. So what happens is, as the Gulf of Alaska spins up all these big storms that, come in through the Northwest and come down and drop a lot of snow. If you look at the data and the statistics, when they get the big waves outside of Kauai, within 10 to 14 days is when you get dumped on here with a whole bunch of snow up in Park City. So, I mean, it's a great local tie-in.
Sure.
With his group and our group, and we're very excited that we have that.
Yeah. Oh, that's great. That's fantastic. Yeah. Well, thank you, Jeff, for taking the time to chat the Utah Beer News. Jeff Tito, president of Park City Brewing, announced this week that Park City Brewing is now available. 4 beers now, 5 soon, and Park City Tap Room in the next little while, and a Salt Lake one later next year. And so it's just wonderful to see. Welcome back to the community, I guess, after voyages elsewhere. So it's great to talk to you, and best of luck to you and all the team at Park City Brewing.
Thanks, Tim. Appreciate it.